Hey, how's it going, guys? Today I'm bringing you this video of me playing Dark Souls 3. This is a game I've heard about for a really long time, and I haven't seen like gameplay of it necessarily that I could remember, but I definitely have seen like the you died part, which is one of the most, iconic parts of this game. And I just heard about this game a lot, and it was just sort of one of those games that in my head just seemed so cool, and never really looked much into it. So I'm gonna let you listen to this music here real quick. It's so sick. That knows how to build some hype, huh? I love games like this. With this type of soundtrack, this type of music, this type of atmosphere. I don't know that this game could be any more tailor-made for the specific type of atmosphere that I love in games. It is dark, and it is heavy, and it is it's got a sweet art form. Now there I did something completely accidental, which was I parried the guy. So, those of you who know how swords and sword fights work, if you parry someone, you essentially just, like, you turn their momentum against them in a way, and, you can respond, and that's what I did, luckily, because it's extremely hard to do, and I've died, like, 15 times just tonight trying to do it. So, this is the first boss. He's kind of like a tutorial-type boss, and as you see, I know nothing about this game, so I'm right up in his face, swinging on him immediately. And look at that, I have no health. My health is in the top left there, that red bar. I have no health. And watch, he's just gonna... Yep, there you go, dead. Just like that. Now, this type of game is just, like, I would say I have to recommend this game. If you like games that are challenging, if you like games that are not just like a typical, like, just like mindless fun. If you want something that's really gonna test you and challenge you, this is the game. It's awesome, and that was one of the things that steered me away from it, because obviously, like I said, I was a little bit familiar with it. It was one of those things where, like, I had seen gameplay, I'm certain, but it never stuck in my head as like something that looked cool, just because I never really paid any attention to it. But once I found out what the game was and how hard it was, it had this like allure to me. I was like, man, I really want to try that game, because it basically has a reputation as being one of the hardest games. One of the hardest games ever, and that to me is just like a cool, and see, now I learned, because I'm rolling a little bit. Love his axe, by the way. But so, it was one of those games that had this like appeal to me. I was like, man, I really want to play that game. Like, I can't wait to play something like that, just again to challenge myself. And for now, and I don't know for how long, but definitely for now, I've stopped playing Call of Duty. It's really taken a toll on just my overall attitude toward things, because I'm so ultra competitive that I just cannot stand playing that game, because it's just the people that I'm playing against are people that just have 14 hours, 16 hours a day to play, and I don't have that kind of time. I work, so I can't just chill out in my parents' basement and play games for 16 hours a day and do nothing and drink 17 monsters, so I'm completely cracked out of my mind while I'm playing against people. I don't have that. I'm sitting here drinking water at 3 o'clock in the morning after I'm tired from working, so I'm not, it's not been fun for me. I'll just leave it at that. And so I've just been trying something different, and so I've gone through and I've done some Forza. You saw some of that gameplay recently, and I went back and played Skyrim. I went back and got a bunch of achievements on Skyrim. Played like 40, 50 hours on there. And that might be maybe 30 or 40. And got some achievements and did that during my quarantine. And then I started playing this. And it's been really fun. Now this is like the tutorial boss. So, this Cemetery of Ash is this area where I'm in. And this is like the first area you play in. And look, I got him kind of near half, I guess. At this point, I didn't realize something about this game, which is, so when you kill things, you get souls, and that's like the currency of the game, essentially. You use that to level up and to buy items and stuff. And when you die, you actually lose all your souls. which is, makes the game tough. Now, but what happens is, though, is when you die, you can actually go back and pick them up. So I'll see if I can show you right here. So you see how there's that green orb right there that I'm going to run literally right past and didn't do anything with? That recovers your souls. So they only stay there for one death. So you die, they spawn on the ground, you can go back and pick them up. But if you die a second time without picking them up, they're gone forever. And so, again, I'm not healing, I'm not doing anything. And I didn't know anything about healing, I didn't know any of that. So here I am just repeatedly dying. Now I lost so many souls. And so after a little bit, I started kind of trying to pay attention because there's all these things on the ground, like you can touch blood stains and all this kind of stuff, and I had no idea what they did. So after a little while, I ended up beating him, and it wasn't until I started the next level that I was like, maybe I should look up a couple of things about the game just so I don't go in completely blind, because it's it's pretty tough for my style. Like I've never played it, so I don't know how to do it, and so I just looked up a couple things and was like, what does touching a bloodstain do? What does retrieving souls do? That kind of stuff. I didn't know any of that. So once I looked it up, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And of course I can heal too, but I don't, I'm not using that. So there's those 4 things on the left there. Those are your D-pad. So the bottom one, you can cycle through all those items that are there, and that bright yellow-orange thing is a flask that you can drink out of and restores your health. So I didn't know that. Obviously, he's not using it, but here we go. So now once you get to half health, he turns into his second phase, and look, right away, dead. It's an extremely unforgiving game. I will say this. I will say, the reputation that it had, in my opinion, was like the most absolutely just right in your face, brutal game that anyone's ever heard of. And, I have to say, I don't think it quite lives up to that. But I will say it is extremely unforgiving. And see, so now I have the flask out. So now if I press X while I'm, that's activating. It's just press X, or I guess square if you're on PlayStation. That'll activate. And of course I'm playing this on console. I really wanted to buy it on PC, but it was on sale on console, which is why I bought it for $15, and it's still $60 on Steam. I'm not spending $60 for a game that's $15 on Xbox. So, as much as I really love frame rate, I'll suffer through the 30 FPS because it's a fourth of the price. I can't justify spending 4 times the price for something like that. So. Now, as you see, I'm doing a little bit better here. I've still got some good health. I don't. I guess maybe I did heal, didn't I? But there we go again, dead. Now, I just think the art style of this game and the atmospheric style of this game, once I realized it, I thought, I can't believe this game has existed for 4 years and I didn't know, because it's just, and then of course there were Dark Souls before that, and there was Bloodborne also mixed in there, which is the PlayStation exclusive, which takes place in the same universe as far as I understand, or is a very, excuse me, hiccup, is a very similar type of game, but it's just, it's the PlayStation exclusive version. But I just can't believe that I didn't know this game existed, because it's awesome. Like, the art style is absolutely phenomenal. I love the time period. It's like kind of, like Middle Ages type game. And everything's dark and heavy, and I mean, look at this. Like, you're fighting a guy who's, I don't know, let's see once I get up to him. So let's assume my character's probably 6 feet. So you're fighting a 12-foot tall, fully armored man with a 15-foot long axe who's just absolutely just destroying you, like completely annihilating you like nothing you've ever seen before. And it's just awesome. And music is a huge part of games for me also. You think of games like Skyrim, and here, I'll be quiet for 1 second. Just listen to this boss music. Yeah, I mean, epic, right? And as you saw, now I'm healing, so now I'm learning a little bit. And now we've gotten him to the second stage, and I still have half my health. So we're actually doing better here. And this, I mean, I don't even know what this is. You see him, and he is just some kind of beast that you're fighting against. Like, I don't even know what that is, man. Getting real close here. You can see I'm getting him real close. And I'm rolling. I'm trying to stay out of the way. And yes. Finally got him. And so, funny enough, one of my weaknesses when I play games has actually been my strength in this game so far, and that is when I go through areas and I play games that I'm new to or levels or whatever that I'm into, I'm very much a perfectionist in the way that I try to approach everything that I do. Now this guy, I see him and I'm like, oh, here's a guy that I'm gonna fight, and I come up to him and look at, he just absolutely wrecks me right away. And now I'm dead. So, like I said, eventually I figured out that you could recover your souls by going back and hitting the green, as long as you haven't died twice. And so, basically, I'm just going to keep going to this guy, and I don't know that I know that yet about the souls, because I'm engaging him without going to pick up my souls. But he was, like, a tough opponent, so what I was getting at was, I'm a perfectionist, and when I play a game, I will continually, if I keep failing, I'll continually try the same strategy. I'll just try to perfect it and get better every time. Now, see, here's where I did that, and I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting, because it looks like an item, so I picked it up, and, obviously I edit this stuff out, but I'm sitting here, like, I sat here for, basically what I do is when I'm playing a game, I'll just, like, sit there and stop, and look how fast he killed me, just like that. I'll pull out my phone and I'll start looking stuff up, and I'll go, oh, what is this, or what is that? Because, it's really hard to play. Like, the game is pretty hard if you know generally about the items and what you're doing and stuff, and so that he killed me again that fast. I was like, if you know generally about the stuff that you're doing, it makes it a lot easier, and it gives you a leg up. And so my strategy, and this is always the case with like Call of Duty and all the other games I play, is I just continually try the same strategy just over and over and over and over again. And if I'm getting even incremental progress, then I think to myself, oh, okay, I can do this, like I can make this work. And with a lot of games, sometimes it doesn't work, with a lot of games that gets me extremely frustrated and angry when I play them, because it's just like I'm beating my head against the wall. But actually, with this game, it actually works. Because a lot of times you have to just, it's basically combat, so you just have to get better at the combat each and every time. You see, here I am dead again. So you have to get better at the fight and the combat each and every time, and as we saw with that boss back there, which, again, he's like a tutorial boss, so I'm not bragging that I beat him or something like that. I'm just saying that each time I fought him, I got a little bit further and did a little bit better, and then eventually I beat him, and that's satisfying. It can be frustrating for me if I try something like 10,000 times and can't do it. Now, see, if you see, I don't really know what I'm doing there yet with the souls, because I left my green thing just sitting there on the ground. And I'm keeping trying to fight him because, again, in my mind, I'm like, dude, I can beat this guy. No, I can't. So I just keep fighting him. Now, the cool thing about this game, which is really the reason why 30 frames per second on this game really sucks, is because the game is all about split-second timing. So you really need to have the right split-second timing to dodge enemy attacks, because if you don't dodge the attacks, you're just going to get destroyed like that guy was destroying me. So a big part of it is rolling when you're in combat. So I moved on. I didn't want to show you too many more deaths, but rest assured, I got easily 2 to 3 times that many deaths trying to fight that guy, and then I just decided I'm not good enough to beat him yet. Maybe I'll come back in a little while once I have better equipment or better skills or something, because he's kind of like right outside the central area that you can constantly travel back to, so I just figured, like, I'll just challenge him later. So that was my first attempt going over there. It's my first time in this area, first attempt going over there, and I died immediately. So now, what I did is I went and I got a different weapon, which you can see. I looked after spending hours and hours and hours, and I'm talking like insane hours, like probably 6-7 hours in this exact same spot, not really able to progress any further. I looked up some stuff and found out, like some good weapons for early game kind of thing, like what you can get early game. And what I found was this sword I'm using called the Claymore. Now this is actually a great sword, so it's really big. As you see, it's over my shoulder, and you can actually two-hand the weapon, which allows you to hold, like that guy's doing with the axe. So you basically hold the weapon and no shield. But I don't know. I like the shield. It allows you to parry enemies, which if you time it just right, then what happens is you put the shield up just as they're attacking you, and it actually parries. And so what it does is it leaves them vulnerable for like 2 whole seconds, where you can just do like a power attack, basically. And so the major part of this game is every time you engage these enemies, especially these big ones, basically what you do is you just engage them and you allow them to swing at you, and then you dodge, you roll, and then you attack them. And so basically I had meant to put this title part in so that you can see basically how fast the game loads, because I was watching, and I've been watching this guy is kind of doing like walkthroughs, so I can sort of get an idea. I try not to spoil like the boss or anything like that, so when I get to the end, I'll just, you know, back off. But I basically watch through it because he'll go through like the important items in the area, and that way I can just know about how many items I'm looking out for, and I just sort of do exploration. And sometimes there's like these really hidden areas and stuff. So, but again, I'm just kind of looking through here, just checking stuff out, just checking out some of the settings and stuff. But and I'm doing that offline because there was something about like players invading your game, stuff like that, and I really don't want that to be a thing. So I switched that to offline. And then when I've been watching him, the loading times on his Xbox are just absolutely atrocious. So I'm just going to show you how quick the loading times are in this game for me. Now this is on an Xbox One X, so you know all that extra memory bandwidth and all that. The extra RAM and all that kind of stuff, and then the fact that I'm playing the game off of an external SSD solid state drive makes the loading times absolutely brilliant. So that was it right there. Main menu to load game, and I'm in the game. It's like 15 seconds max. And watching his, it's just an absolute drag. Watching how long it takes him to load, and like every time he dies, it just takes him an insane amount of time to reload and get back to the game. It's like 15 to 20 seconds each time, and with me it's like 5 seconds and I'm back in. So now what you see is a proper run. Okay, so I've leveled up a few times, so my Claymore has much better stats, and I have much better stats, meaning that I can pretty much one-shot the medium enemies, like this dog right here. These are all one-shots. These bigger guys I still have to fight. But now I can three-shot the guys, and now that I've got enough power with my weapon, I can stagger lock them, which was something that I was watching the guy do, and I thought, I need to start doing that. So I basically got a good weapon, and the stagger lock means that, you know, so essentially, like, I mean, look at this atmosphere. Look at the art in there. I mean, that is freaking phenomenal, dude. I almost sweared right there. Oh, it left such an impact on me. So now... as you'll see here, what I'm doing is I'm much more calculated about what I'm doing. So I'm dodging at just the right time, and then I'm using my good sword that I got, this great weapon, and my great attributes, because you build this character and you have these attributes. So I'm using the attributes to my advantage right now. And when you like a lot of different fights, like this is a cool one. So one of the attributes of this great sword is that you can actually hit multiple enemies at once. And so what you'll see here is basically an easy way to clean these guys up. So you get that one quick guy, and then watch this. One swipe takes out both of them. One swipe takes out both of them. That's actually a spot where people could, where it's essentially like an ambush, and you basically just will get rocked. If you walk over there, if you miss those shots with a greatsword or an axe that does that sort of damage, you're going to get destroyed, because you're going to have to be fighting 5 guys at one time. So as you see, all these guys are one-hits, and at this point, I've done this so many times. I probably was playing this section for probably 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours of just continually going through this section over and over and over again. So I've basically dialed it down. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab this big knight, and I'm going to pull him up here, because if I die, then this is an easier place to retrieve my souls from. So as you see there, I'm blocking, and then I wait for my opportunity to attack, and then I'm waiting again. Block. Now, he actually wrecked me right there because I blocked too many times. So that was a misplay on my part, but yep, see, so there I go. I roll out of those attacks, and then again, you have to kind of pick your moment. So this has been an unbelievably fun game. Like the art style, again, I keep harping on that, but like the atmosphere of this game is just absolutely insane. Like, just fighting these guys, just fighting these 10-foot tall knights in full armor is just absolutely awesome. Now, this guy's much tougher. I couldn't really figure out how to get past his shield. He doesn't attack that often, so it's kind of hard to... Now, knowing what I know now, I could just circle around to his back, essentially. So these big guys, you basically have to wait for their attacks in order to go, and then a lot of times you get 1 or 2 hits in, and then they attack you again. So these stagger lock is basically, when you get a weapon that's good enough, you can stagger them enough time that you can actually stagger lock them. So you can basically just almost indefinitely stagger them as long as you have stamina to swing. So like that. So the stamina is the green bar there of those 3 bars. And as you saw, I stagger locked him into a death. Now, earlier it was taking me, 5-6 shots to kill these guys, but as I played for, again, 8 to 10 hours, just constantly playing this, retrieving my souls, spending them, leveling up my strength, eventually I got to the point where they're now all 3 hits. And, yeah, I mean, it's just fun. Now, this guy is a real beast. So he's the same guys, but as you see, he has red eyes, which actually means he's like a step-up enemy. And so I get to fight him, and the strategy, again, I had dialed in through so long of just playing non-stop, and it was really fun, really, I mean, it did get a little tedious at times, but again, I bring him up here because I don't want to... See, now he was stagger locked there, but I ran out of stamina, and then I got lucky there because I was at his back, and I ended up getting a backstab, which was really sick. And so I ended up killing him, that was one of the easier times I've killed him. Now the funny thing was I had been telling my friend that how hard this game was and how much I had been struggling with it. Now this guy's a big old fatty. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a drop attack on him. If you fall off of an item, you can actually attack on the way down. And if you land on him and stab him, it does like double or triple damage or something like that. So the funny thing is that made it look easy because of the stagger lock and the drop damage. But that guy messed me up 15. Excuse me again. I'm sorry. That guy messed me up 15 times, and it was nuts. So now here I am going to the boss, and the boss is fun. And that was my first try. So I had just said like how hard it was to make it all the way there. I was thinking like I can't kill all these knights and all this stuff. I'll never be able to do that. And literally 10 minutes after I told him that, I got on and played, and that was my first play of the night right there. I got all the way here to the boss. I didn't actually challenge the boss that time because I had a lot of souls and didn't want to lose them because I didn't think I could make it that far again, so I went back and leveled up, but now I'm back here at the boss. And definitely will be more gameplay from this game because this is basically all I'm playing right now, and I have more footage already, but I didn't want to mix it up with this because it's already long enough. And so, this guy's huge. Now, essentially, I've always kind of played this way, but I heard the guy say this in his video, is like, when you play against guys like big bosses like this, it's kind of best to just stay as close as you can to them, because it's really hard for them to do something. But you'll see I get this boss really low, and unfortunately, I didn't end up making it. And I don't know exactly, yeah, see, 3,000 souls. I ended up losing all these souls because... And this was actually less. I lost I think I lost 8 or 10,000 souls the first time I fought this boss because I died and couldn't get back to him. And so, yeah, it's really, really bad. But I've been having so much fun with this game. It's unbelievable. Like I said, I can't highly recommend this game enough if you guys like this style of game and want to challenge yourself. If you can tolerate being a little bit frustrated at times. So I appreciate you guys checking this out. Thank you so much. See you in the next one.